I think that being a master's student in Chinese here at the University of Oslo is not just about doing the master's. Being a student here, you get to meet a ton of interesting people in different departments, and you get to share and expand your knowledge with them.
Doing my master's here at UIO was my plan even before I started studying Chinese. And when I was applying for my master's degree, it was a natural choice to choose UIO. I have experience with the teachers. I know that their academic interests are similar to mine, and since the department is so small, it's easy to get contact with those teachers and exchange on ideas of academic interest.
One of the most exciting things about our Chinese master program is really that we can use our ongoing research projects to address some of the most important issues in the world today. So how could you, for instance, possibly understand the consequences of global climate change, of environmental degradation, if you don't have an in-depth knowledge of what's going on in China?
Yeah, and think about our research project on air pollution and how it affects Chinese society, and how we found out that it was actually much easier for local governments to restrict private car driving and to get public support for it than we had initially thought.
Yeah, that's a very good example of how state-society relations can be studied in our master program, but also how it is connected to our ongoing research.
Yeah, and you can only do it in China. You will not learn about it when you read media reports or these general books about China. You have to be there.
My main interest is in religion and anthropology, and how religion changes and adapts in different social contexts. And being able to talk to not just people in Chinese studies, but experts on Buddhism, people studying anthropology in India, has been an amazing way for me to open my eyes and get a wider perspective on my own project.
Hey Kuhn, I hear you've become a vegetarian, but you're making an exception for flying squirrels. Why is that?
This says something about the extent to which you have to be committed doing fieldwork. You could also say it's part of a research methodology called participant observation. I was studying how for indigenous people in today's Taiwan, hunting constitutes an important part of their identity. Something they were very proud about, and that was why I had to eat the poor squirrel. So, while we provide our students with all the necessary skills for learning how to do research, teaching them from our own personal experience in the field is, I would say, at least as valuable. But then I heard that you wanted to call one of your classes Reading Chinese Minds. Are you doing mind reading in class?
But we do reading, and many of the texts that we read actually reveal quite a lot about what goes on in Chinese minds, whether it's their ways of thinking, or their shades of different feelings, or their cognitive style, cognitive patterns. So whether we read literature, or history, or essays or whatever, this age-old, 2,000-year-old tradition of self-cultivation and self-improvement lies there very close beneath the surface.
What's so great about our master's program is that not only do I get to talk about and research topics that are interesting to my thesis, but also I get to approach a lot of East Asian topics in general and approach them from different academic disciplines. So in a given week we might read papers from sociological, anthropological, or even just plain newspaper articles, and all of them invites us into the academic discussion that goes around in the entire area of East Asia.
I've been using decades of my life to thoroughly learn the language which many people call the Latin of East Asia. The classical Chinese, the language which once was used from the southern borders of today's Mongolia to Vietnam, from what today is Xinjiang to Japan.
I find it really interesting to study, together with our master students, how the languages of East Asia influence each other, and how ideas, ideologies and knowledge travel between the West and East Asia and within East Asia.
And in addition to this, one of my current projects deals with the Russian-speaking Korean diaspora. The 1.5 million strong ethnic group which populates the enormous swath of land from Vladivostok in the east to Belarus in the west. They are Russian-speaking, as I have said, but at the same time they retain some very East Asian cultural traits, like enormous zeal for education.
All of these historical issues like languages, like migration, like religion, like philosophy, make East Asia into a very interesting region to study. And all of these issues and many, many more can be studied in our East Asian master programs at the University of Oslo.